guys, welcome back to Thursday on We Are Androgyny. Today's topic is religion, which I have a lot to talk about on religion, which I've got to do really quickly, so I don't bore the fuck out of you guys. Okay. Let's just start with the history of my own religion. My own religion right now is, I believe, much like Wednesday does, that I am my own God and I create my own reality. That is what I believe and that is what I know. That, after being through a lot of research and experiences with, the houses of religion, which I just found appalling and ridiculous, but not in their beliefs so much as the lie to those beliefs. So I just went to the original source of what the religion was, and that was astronomy. And I've been studying the stars and following the stars for many years now. I started off, I was baptized a Mormon because my family on my mom's side is Mormon. My father's side is Christian, and I just started researching to find like a ground between, all religions, because I wanted to know which one was right. I mean, no one came down on a golden cloud and said this is what the religion is. Like, until that happens, let's just take the facts into consideration, should we? So I went into mythology, and I started researching certain things, like all kinds of religions. Like, I went into all kinds of mythologies of all around the world. I mean, Greek mythology, all kinds of mythology, like myths, legends, fantasies, from everywhere around the whole world. Every religion I could possibly think of. I love this book. Had a lot to teach. Actually, a lot to teach in this book. The Secret Teachings of All Ages. I highly recommend this book if you guys have, some in-depth reading want. This goes through a lot of different things. Very, very in-depth. So I just went through and I started to, gather all the facts together. And then I looked at ancient Egypt, and I came across something after I saw a video online, and I was like, oh wait, let me research that, and it was true. So what it was, alright, religion is all based on one thing, as I said, is the sun. It's all based on the sun and the stars, all of it. And, 10,000 years before Christ, people worshiped the sun. Since the sun is what brings people life and makes the plants grow, and it brings you life. It's the life bringer. It's the light from the dark. And the cross, what everyone thinks is the cross that he was crucified on, Jesus Christ, is actually the cross of the zodiac. And the cross of the zodiac is the sun's path, the months of the year, and the equinoxes. And it also has the 12 zodiacs around it, which are the disciples, his 12 disciples, so in which he travels with. You see where I'm going with this? Well, people back in the day, like to anthropomorphize things, so personify basically, which they would take these stars and out of like what was going on during that part of the year would create a story and out of what was happening in the stars as to what was happening for them on Earth. Such as, for instance, Aquarius is the water bearer, and Aquarius is where the sun travels in the spring and it brings spring showers. So spring rains is because Aquarius is dumping out his water in the sky, correct? See where I'm going? So then you start looking at ancient Egypt. And ancient Egypt is one of the oldest religions that we know that is written down. And let's just look at this. So Horus is born of a virgin on December 25th. The virgin's name is Isis Mary. His birth was foretold by a star in the east. He was followed and adored by 3 kings. He was a prodigy teacher at the age of 12. He was baptized at the age of 30, in which he started his own ministry and started traveling around with his 12 disciples and traveled around healing the sick and performing miracles such as walking on water and turning water into wine. And where am I at here? He is known as the Lamb of God, the Good Shepherd, the Light, etc., etc. After being betrayed by Typhon, he was crucified, buried for 3 days, and then resurrected. Does that sound a little bit familiar to you? Because it kind of sounds a little bit familiar to me. And after looking at multiple different religions, it sounds very familiar to a lot of other people too. Because Attis of Phrygia has the same story. Krishna in India, same story. Dionysus of Greece, same story. Mithra of Persia, same story. And Thor, same story. And so on until we get to Jesus, which is our current Messiah situation. So this has happened throughout the ages, forever and ever and ever, because the sun has been there forever and ever and ever for us. So naturally, when you read the stars, you come up with your own stories to like go along with that, as all these people have. It's completely astrological. Completely. 100%. The Eastern Star, Sirius, is the brightest star, which is the star that the three kings follow. Now you want to know who the three kings are? Okay. The three kings are the three stars in Orion's belt. Those stars have been called the three kings since ancient times. They're called the three kings, and on December 24th, they line up with Sirius, the brightest star in the east. So it looks as if they were following Sirius. When you look at where they point to, down on Earth, they point to the point of Earth where the sun rises. So when the sunrise happens, those 4 stars in a row will be pointing right at it. So the three kings followed the star in the east to find the sun. Makes sense, right? Well, the sun is born in the zodiac sign of Virgo, which Virgo is the house of bread. That's what the zodiac symbolizes. Virgo zodiac is actually holding blades of wheat, because she is the house of bread. Virgo is the Virgin, so Virgin Mary is translated into Virgo because he is born under the Virgo zodiac. And Bethlehem, the word Bethlehem actually translates into house of bread. So he was born in Bethlehem of a virgin. He was born under Virgo. You see what I'm getting at? Then the sun, through the winter, the sun is getting smaller and smaller as it moves south. So on December 21st, the sun dies. I mean, not physically dies, but the sun dies because on December 21st, the sun goes to its lowest point. And it stays at its lowest point for 3 days, hence the 3-day death. So the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 24th, the sun is dead. And on the 24th, going into the 25th, the sun changes its course instead of traveling south, into moving 1 degree north, which changes the seasons, which starts the rebirth of the sun, which is born on December 25th, the rebirth, and just restarting life all over again, as in seasons and crops and everything else for the ancients. But they don't celebrate the death of Jesus and the resurrection until Easter, and that is because Easter is in April, is when the sun has the majority over, the light is majority over the darkness. It covers more of the earth than the dark does. That's why it's celebrated then. As I said before, the 12 disciples are no more than the 12 zodiac signs that the sun is traveling through and with. So, sounds a little bit familiar, I would imagine, to a lot of you, but that's the reality of it. And after a lot of research, I figured that out a long time ago, at a young age. But it has helped me with my own personal thoughts as to well then, is there a God out there? It still leaves that question. It doesn't say that there's not a God. That just gives a story as to what people are worshiping is actually the sun and the moon and the stars, which is what I personally worship. I don't really worship anything. I believe that that is what everything is. It's all based on astrological things. So I read the stars and I study the stars so much, and I love that. But do I believe that there's a God up there telling us what to do? No. Or controlling anything? No, I don't. I think that I am my own God. I see God every day in the mirror. I make my own realities, and I think that everyone else makes their own realities too. I think the power of thought has a lot to do with it. This is just a story of what happens naturally. But what you create in your own world is something that happens in your own head. And like what you happen in your own life is something that you put out there and you make happen. So that is my long story into a short story attempt. So yeah. Anyway, I am going to leave that right there where it is, so you guys can just ponder that a little bit, because it's a little much to take in. And I don't know. I guess I will see you all next week.